the property is not literally falling apart at the seams. And you assessed it to have value. I'm not sure why we have to have that rule and what purpose that is. I don't know what kind of fraud could be perpetrated on that, because the individual owner is buying the individual condominium and not the whole building. So I look forward to working with you on those kinds of issues. But let me share some other issues with you as well. Over the past years of our lives living in Houston, born, raised, got there as soon as you could, whatever your status is, you can raise your hand as to one flood incident that you have had. And maybe some of you are actual storytellers of incidences with your own property, but certainly you've seen what we've confronted both in 15 and in 16. For those of us who know that there is a climatic change, we know that that occurs, but we also know that Houston has flooded. And I think finally we have reached a point where, as much as we love the city and we say to the outsiders, that's our flood, people are literally over the top. Particularly I feel moved by the Meyerland community that just got through putting down the new carpet and were absolutely flooded again. That's a multi-million-dollar project that came out of our federal dollars. As you well know, Brays Bayou was one of those that was fixed. It's now being completed. We're now all the way down by McGregor Park. So it has come from Meyerland all the way through the McGregor area, and the last part of it is going to be McGregor Park, which they're trying to do a bayou-type setting where people can enjoy it as a recreational area. But that doesn't mean that it will not flood. So there's several things that we're trying to do. We're trying to ask for $300 million to fix Houston, Harris County infrastructure setting. But you know, it's not often that you can build a house without plans. And that has been my concern, that we are scatterbrained. We go fix something over here. We don't know where the water goes over here. And so a group of us, I led an effort taking a tour of the bayous around my congressional area, which is those heavy floodings of those apartments, which really impact people who are on the margin. If you're on the margin, you're a mother, family with 2 or 3 children, and you're living from really paycheck to paycheck, you're making ends meet or trying to make them meet, you get a disaster like this, you're just underwater for a long period of time, and that's what's happening out there. And of course the mayor has done a stupendous job, first immediately putting them in apartments, and then trying to, now we're working with FEMA to try to work with those who are still in essence underwater and not able to have housing. So we are asking, once we did that tour, we worked with the Army Corps of Engineers, and we're doing something that maybe we should have done 40 years ago. As I asked them the question, have you ever had a study? Do you know what's going on here? Because that's what Houstonians are asking. What is going on? Are we just accepting this? So we're going to get them to do a major study. Yes, they have never done a study of Houston, Harris County's bayous to know how they're either interconnected, or where does that money flow. And so we've managed to get, for a reasonable amount of federal dollars, they put it in for their work study plan. We're going to find out how soon they can be able to act on that. That study is probably not going to be in 16. It may start in 17, but it'll look at all of the bayous and how they work, how they flow. I just gave $55 million to the Greens Bayou project that is partly beautification. It's a major project that is being done. So that's something. I would also encourage you as an organization to have the Harris County Flood District be a speaker, have the Army Corps of Engineers be a speaker, and appropriately it may be good to have, when they get through with all the work that they're doing, FEMA. And I'd be happy to help you with some of those so that you can sort of understand that part of your business, because the houses that you sell may be underwater. Lastly, let me say that I think last year I indicated that I am now the ranking member on the Criminal Justice Committee. These issues impact you because there are a lot of good things happening in the local level, but we are the bully pulpit. So there's several things that you should be interested in, because these are issues dealing with sentencing reduction, mostly on drug offenses, because we found out that what we did 10, 15, 20 years ago, mass incarceration, just didn't work. Those are not the people breaking in. We're not trying to release people that will be in your backyard. We're trying to release people who've been in with excessive sentencing and try to restore them back into society. Prison reform, we're trying to change that from always punishing, because if there are people on the edge of coming out and they have no skills, no job skills, They have no training to relate back to society, no anger management, no parental skills, and no counseling, how to get housing, how to get jobs. Then what are we doing? We're literally creating a challenging situation. So we're trying to do prison reform bipartisan. And we're trying to change the juvenile justice system. If any of you have known anyone that have gone in that system, it is a system that is not due process. A juvenile can go into the detention center and never come out, because what happens is they have no sentence. They can stay there till they're an adult, and if they put bubble gum on the ground or shout, and what is a juvenile going to do? They're going to do that. Then the judge just says, well, their behavior is not good. They can just stay in. And so literally, people don't even know that young people are sitting down there. And so we want a different kind of system that restores them, that they can go to college. Because what we want in life is people who can contribute to society, not those who are not. Lastly, this is Opioid Week. And I joined with my colleagues, Republican Chairman Goodlatte, Sensenbrenner, and John Conyers, and I have introduced a major bill. It'll be a series of 18 bills dealing with the epidemic of heroin, and trying to deal with it from a process of treatment. It's unbelievable the Judiciary Committee passed a bill out that deals with treatment versus incarceration, and working with the police officers, giving a Naloxone, which if you come upon somebody who is comatose, but not comatose, well, who is unconscious, and it looks as a drug situation, that you can immediately give them, that the police are immediately trained to give that reactive drug. We don't know what happened to Prince, but obviously this is going to be a long story because no one had any sense of him engaged in activity. So it's everywhere, and many believe that his started on prescription drugs, which is what everyone starts on. Horrific cases, hydrocodone seems to be everywhere. A mother giving it to two individuals going to a prom. I don't know how your mind could even focus in that direction. Thank goodness she's going to jail. That's one that I won't be crying about. The other poor woman here, a young woman, 2 children in the car, on hydrocodone, and kills a person on a motorcycle in Houston. So the bipartisanship of this is very strong, and we're trying to work. You might want to be interested in those bills, because I can't imagine that anyone has not had the encounter with this issue. But more importantly, as just my friends, we all must be sensitive. We know what our doctors are doing. They're trying to help us, but we must be sensitive to the proliferation of painkillers, which is the new medicine that indicated they shouldn't be suffering. We need to give them painkillers, and they don't give you 2, they give you whole bottles of them. And I'm not pointing the finger, but this is what the hearings, these are the witnesses that came before us. This is the testimony of members of Congress. And that's where we are today with the overutilization of prescription painkillers. That means that people have access, but more importantly, young people have access. Let me end by thanking you for all the work that you have done, and I'm looking